How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 2.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and as Eric Erickson here across the United States of America, delighted to have you with me. The phone number is 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, don't forget, text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. Get everything you need to know about the show. Okay, I don't think there's bad words in here. Kobe can hit the button if there is, the bleeper button. But this is I don't think there is, because it's the the president sometimes at these press conferences he says potty words and we have to run the president's speeches in delay. But I don't think there's one here. This just happened, and I want to hear this because apparently he is needling Marco Rubio. And just let's listen to this together. He's finishing up this speech on the Board of Peace, and then he's getting on a plane to come to Georgia later today.
Marco does it with a velvet glove, but it's a kill, right? The result is the same. They do it very differently. And Marco, you really did yourself proud 2 days ago in Munich. In fact, so proud that I almost terminated his employ because they were saying, why can't Trump do this? I do, but I say it differently. But Marco, don't do any better than you did, please. Because if you do, you're out of here. But no, I want my guys to do great. And the acclaim he's gotten and the acclaim JD gets is great. We have smart people.
Interesting, you had to throw in JD in there as well after his speech didn't go as well in Europe. Don't do any better than that or you're out of here. This is the thing. This is why people, they don't like Donald Trump's job as president, but they actually like him. It's kind of the reverse of Bill Clinton. Back before Bill Clinton was president of the United States, the polling always asked, do you approve of the president? Do you approve of the president? No one asked, do you approve of the president's job performance? It was implied. But when Bill Clinton was president of the United States, pollsters started noticing that people didn't like Bill Clinton, but they really liked the job he was doing. And that became a sign he would probably get reelected in 96 despite his character flaws. And it's the reverse with Trump. People like the performance generally. They just don't particularly care for him. But I find Donald Trump, even as much as I might criticize him, I find him a very endearing person. He's very, very funny one-on-one. He has just a wicked sense of humor, and he's willing to laugh about so much stuff. And meanwhile, on the Democratic Party side, they can't laugh about anything anymore. To the extent they try to laugh at stuff, it's kind of dumb stuff that they laugh at. So kudos to the president for being able to make jokes like that in ways a lot of other politicians would not be willing to make. Now, the president of the United States heads to Georgia's 14th congressional district today. That was Marjorie Taylor Greene's district. Marjorie Taylor Greene is now off campaigning against the Jews, probably with Greta Thunberg or something, scowling. I better not say that on radio. That'll get me in trouble. Someone sent me I'll have to share it with Kobe during commercial break. Otherwise, I'll get in trouble. It was about her doppelganger. In any event. If you know, you know. So the president is headed to Georgia's 14th congressional district today to campaign for Clay Fuller. Clay Fuller is the president's endorsed candidate, although he forgot the other day he'd endorsed Clay. So for those of you who don't know, 14th congressional district, it stretches from the Atlanta suburbs up into northwest Georgia. I ran a congressional race in that area years ago, back when it was the 11th congressional district. This district was drawn for Tom Graves back in the day when he left Congress. Marjorie Taylor Greene won and went to Congress and embarrassed everybody ever since. And now she has quit early. And Clay Fuller is the district attorney of Floyd County, Georgia. Great guy. I'm actually supporting Tom Gray, his opponent, another fantastic guy. Tom's the sort of guy you always say, I wish we could get people like that in Congress. Well, here he is. He's running. You could vote for him. President forgot the other day that he was supporting Clay, but he's going to Rome, Georgia. And the reason he's going to Rome really doesn't have anything to do with the economy. It's a perfect place for him to reset on the economy. The president's going to get a national audience. Anyway, by virtue of President Trump being the president, he's going to get a national audience for his appearance in Georgia. He could have done this anywhere. The reason he's doing it in the 14th Congressional District in Georgia, however, has everything to do with Democratic turnout. Or should I say the lack of Republican turnout. Republicans are not turning out to vote. They need engagement by the President of the United States to get out to vote. And the president, for his part, is willing to give them the excuse to go vote. So he's going to start in Georgia. The president's going to work his way up the eastern seaboard. He's going to go out west. And he's going to make the case to the American people, your tax refunds are coming. You're going to be impressed with them. We know we've still got to work on the economy, but look at gas prices. That's what we want to do for everything. One of the problems that the president has that he's not going to be able to get around and he's not going to walk away from, frankly, are the tariffs. Now, this is the wild thing to me. Strategically, just bear with me here now. Don't tune me out. Let me make this point. Some of you will get mad. Don't. Let me make the point. Strategically, if the opposition, you're the Democrats, you say and I know it's hard for you, but pretend you're a Democrat right now. Now, when I tell you to pretend you're a Democrat, please don't yell at people. Please don't burn anything down right now. And please don't suddenly walk into the women's bathroom if you're a man or the man's bathroom if you're a woman. Please don't try to abort anybody right now. I just pretend just for a moment you're a Democrat. Don't go get the mifepristone and swallow it. Pretend you're a Democrat. And the Republican Party has just raised taxes on the American public without a congressional vote, presidential fiat. Walmart, in its earnings report yesterday, said tariffs have directly impacted consumers. J.P. Morgan has released a report now saying that the American consumers are the ones who have been impacted. Not only that, the reason the president decided to do tariffs was to close the trade deficit, and Bloomberg News reports now the United States notched up one of its biggest annual trade gaps since 1960. We have imported more goods into the United States in 2025 than at any other point in American history. They were all tariffed. U.S. mid-sized company tariffs tripled last year. Tariffs paid by mid-sized U.S. businesses tripled over the course of the past year. New research tied to one of America's leading banks showed on Thursday more evidence that President Trump's push to charge higher taxes on imports is causing economic disruption. The additional taxes have meant that companies that employ a combined 48 million people in the country, the kinds of businesses Donald Trump promised to revive, have had to find ways to absorb the new expenses by passing it along to consumers in the form of higher prices, employing fewer workers, or accepting lower profits, or not giving pay raises. That's from J.P. Morgan Chase Institute. The Federal Reserve yesterday said the same thing, that tariffs are costing American consumers and businesses more money. Only 5% of the tariffs are being paid for by companies and countries out of the United States. A complete 180 on what Donald Trump said would happen. Now, just think about this. Just bear with me here. So the president of the United States raised taxes that are impacting American businesses, American small businesses, and American consumers. 95% of the tariffs are being paid for by American consumers or American businesses, not foreigners like Donald Trump said they would. It has slowed wage growth in this country. It has driven up prices in this country. It has reduced profits in this country for small businesses. And the Democratic Party can't campaign on that. This is just mind-blowing to me. If the Democrats raised taxes on the American public, that would be the single focus of the Republican Party from now till kingdom come. The tax and spend Democrats are at it again. But Donald Trump has actually deployed a policy the Democrats themselves like. This is the wildest thing about this campaign season. So the President of the United States is coming to Rome, Georgia today, about an hour and a half, 2 hours from where I'm sitting right now. A buddy of mine who lives in Rome texted me, and you know what the signs on the road are right now? About Trump and Epstein. It's the local Democrats, a bunch of old white-haired people in masks, no less. They don't want to get their COVID. The old white, of course, it's old white people, and I bet most of them are in Birkenstocks, and they're wearing masks down below their nose, and they're putting up Trump COVID signs, or Trump Epstein signs, rather. Think about that. The Democrats could be putting up signs about the tariffs are costing Americans more money. The tariffs are raising taxes. The tariffs are not doing what Donald Trump said they were doing. They could be focusing on Donald Trump's corruption. They could be focusing on family deals. They could be focusing on the deportations. They could be focusing on all these things. And what are the signs that have been put up by the Democratic Party on the president's route into Rome, Georgia today? Needling him about Jeffrey Epstein. By the way, we'll get to that at the bottom of the hour, but another Democrat probably going to lose a law license over this. Prince Andrew has been arrested. The fallout is happening mostly in Europe, not here over Epstein. And the Democratic message is about Epstein. It's not about the tariffs. It's not about Trump's economic policies. It's not about deportations. It's not about Renee Good. It's not about Alex Brady. It's about Jeffrey Epstein. This is how out of touch the Democratic Party bubble has become. The old blue hairs of the Democratic Party in their N95 masks focused on Jeffrey Epstein as if most of the American public cares. Most of the American public does not care about it. But they care greatly at getting a rise out of Donald Trump. Do you really think Donald Trump is looking out the window at the protest signs when he drives by anyway? It's juvenile. It's genuinely a stupid thing for the Democrats to focus on and waste their time on, because he doesn't actually care about it. He is the man, after all, who told the Palm Beach sheriff that he needed to investigate Epstein and Maxwell because they were evil. There are more Democrats that have been exposed to the Epstein files than Republicans. Barack Obama's general counsel of the White House exposed. Reid Hoffman, major donor to the Democratic Party, exposed. It's just wild to me that the Democrats have gotten so bad at this. In their bubble, they think this sort of stuff matters. It's like when occasionally Democrats will tweet things out like, if you want to ban abortion, we need to pass a law that makes fathers commit to their families. And all the Republicans are like, yes, please. Yes. Jill Filipovic is a writer and commentator on the left. She's been on CNN a bunch, among other things. And she has, let me find this tweet of hers, which just really, it blew my mind to see this from a progressive. She's writing about trans surgeries for minors. And what she chose to tweet out on social media about trans surgeries for minors, she's now deleted the tweet. She said, if we're going to ban trans surgeries for minors, we should ban all cosmetic surgeries for minors. No nose jobs, no breast augmentation, no facelifts. And all the conservatives are like, yes, yes, please, yes. We agree with you. She's now deleted her tweet. Wow. After we all started agreeing with her on the right, she clearly had no idea The idea that the Republicans are somehow gonna like look at Donald Trump and say, oh, the Epstein stuff. I mean, we all recall he's the one who said Epstein was evil. And the Democrats, they can't pivot to talk about tariffs. The president is going to Rome, Georgia today to try to get Republicans out to vote because the Democrats are doing a full court press, and they've been doing that around the country. This isn't about the economy. It's about that. The Democrats could make it about the economy, though. The president's speech will certainly be about the economy. The Democrats could talk about how tariffs are bad, how tariffs are hurting people, all that. But instead, they would rather talk about Jeffrey Epstein because they're not actually trying to win. They're just trying to get a rise out of the president. It's entertainment for them. The old blue hairs of the Democratic Party, and they're in 95 masks. They just want to be entertained. They don't actually want to save the country. They think they do. They don't actually want to. And God forbid they campaign against an economic policy. They don't know how to do that because privately, the Democrats, they're fine with all tax increases, including the tariffs. Hello there. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. Stand by on the phones, 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be very happy to have you. I will get to phone calls here in the next segment. I need to bring you up to speed on two things right now happening. You need to, just pay attention to world affairs right now. The Polish prime minister is urging any Polish citizen inside Iran to leave the country immediately, saying that by the end of this weekend, it may be too late for them to leave. Likewise, the United States has deployed 2/3 of its available E-3 command control aircraft to Europe and the Middle East. As a senior fellow at the Eisenhower Media Network, Matthew Ho notes, it's a large airplane, looks like an airliner, has a revolving radar disc on top, loaded with an air crew whose job is to observe, manage, and control the airspace in an area. Very important for directing fighters and ground sea-based missile interceptors. The U.S. only has 16, but 6 of the 16 are capable, 6 of the 16 are deployed. 9 are available for operations right now. It's a very big deal that they're there as this escalation heats up. And there are reports from some in the White House. They expect imminent military action in Iran as soon as this weekend. So pay attention to this story. Now, I got to tell you guys, I'm not going to play all the audio right now, and we may trim it and But I got a voicemail last night from a lady. She lives down in South Florida and said her laptop did not turn on last night. The keyboard lit up. The screen did not come on. And she remembered that I had said if you call Vision Computers, you could experience their IT. You can get a computer from them. And she said, I'm not a customer, but I'm going to take a chance. And she called Vision Computers some ungodly hour after midnight, and a human being answered the phone, and she explained her situation. She did not have them. She had heard me mention them on the radio. Please, could they help her? It was a crisis, and they got her computer working over the phone. They told her what to do, and she immediately signed up for their managed IT service for her computer. Call them at 404-COMPUTE today or go to visioncomputers.com. That's the sort of service that you can expect from Vision Computers. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. She wasn't a customer. They helped her anyway, and now she's a loyal customer. 404-COMPUTE, visioncomputers.com. Hello, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. Glad to have you with me. The phone number is 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, John, you're going to be up today. Welcome. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Thank you for calling.
I was going to talk about how I think part of the problem of the Democrats' current strategy is they're hoping to repeat the 2006 wins that they had. But I see a couple problems in that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't run a moderate Democrats anymore. They're too run by coastal elites to be able to run people like your Rick Santorums, your Bob Casey's, your John Testards, your Sherrod Browns,
right,
who were, some of them were anti-union, some of them were pro-life, some were anti-gay marriage. You can't run Democrats like that anymore. And another thing that, for how unpopular in some ways Donald Trump is, he's still nowhere near as bad as George W. Bush was when the 2006 election happened.
Yeah, I've made this point several times that as much as I was a fan of Bush, he was so loyal to people related to the Iraq War. Only after the election did he do a pivot and ditched Rumsfeld, brought in Bob Gates, made changes. He refused to throw anybody under the bus and cast blame. Trump, to a degree, has kind of done this with Nome and them. He probably should oust them or Pam Bondi, have a sacrificial lamb to show he's rebooting. But he seems much more willing to make changes than Bush was. And you're right. At the time, remember, the Democrats still had blue dog Democrats who were considered moderate Democrats, particularly in southern states. And when Barack Obama came along in 2009, then you had the Obamacare vote. Abortion was a big fight. They had to compromise on abortion. And a lot of moderates got thrown out of Congress for supporting Obamacare. And then they pivoted on abortion, and the Democrats have become more and more radicalized ever since on these issues. You are far more likely in America today to find an abortion-supporting Republican who also supports gay marriage than you are to find a Democrat who does not support gay marriage and who is pro-life. They virtually don't exist anymore on the Democratic Party side. Way more diversity on the Republican side. 877-973-7425. I was going to put this off. But I think I want to talk about this right now. You probably have, unless you subscribe to the show notes, and you should, text Eric to 33777 because we embedded the whole video in there. My friend Ben Sasse, the former Nebraska senator who became the president of the University of Florida, is dying. I don't know how much longer he has. He has pancreatic cancer, and when it was diagnosed, it was already advanced stage 4. And he's living his life as you should use your life and live your life when you're dying. I want to play you just a 2-minute clip. And I should tell you, full disclosure, I know Ben. In fact, I texted him this morning because I watched his interview, and I said, the upside of you dying is now you get to dress permanently like a trucker eating at Waffle House. He's in a trucker cap and flannel. Of course, if you pay attention, he's got layers on. He's cold. He's lost a lot of weight. He's going through treatment. It's prolonging. It's not stopping what's coming. He is a man on his deathbed, and he is trying to use his time wisely to talk to you and me, and listen to Ben Sasse now.
With big questions, and this is not news to me that I had numbered days. It just became a more precise number. We all have numbered days.
We all have numbered days, which is why you have been so much on my mind ever since posting this, because of course, nobody gets out of here alive. Which brings me to the next question. Redeem the time. That sounds wonderful, but I want to know quite what you mean. It sounds like the kind of thing that we should all be trying to do every day anyway, but don't. What do you mean by it?
Yeah, I have a podcast that's going to be launched in a couple of weeks that I'd been deliberating with some buddies on for 7 years, and multiple times let the perfect be the enemy of the good, and we never got it off the ground. And then we decided in October to do it, and then in December when I was diagnosed, we decided to still do it. We just changed the name to Monty Python's famous "Not Dead Yet." If you're not dead yet, you may as well redeem the time. But that isn't just me; it's all your listeners too. Redeem the time in my theology means it is a great blessing to be able to live a life of gratitude to God by doing stuff that tries to benefit your neighbor. It is a blessing to get to be co-creators, but we don't build any storehouses that last. The things that matter and endure are human souls and things way bigger than any of my projects. That doesn't mean we should be neither triumphalist nor despairing, right? Like nothing we build is going to last, but that doesn't mean nothing matters. The chance to love your neighbor and serve is a blessing, and that's what the Puritans meant by redeem the time. I was given 90 days to live in mid-December. I got into this clinical trial. It's really aggressive. We'll live a lot longer than 90 days, but don't know how many months that is. But whether you have 90 days or 12 months or 12 years or 75 years left to live, we're all going to be pushing up daisies. And so it seems like trying to figure out what the important things are, what the eternal questions you need to wrestle through, what it looks like to see the relationship between sin and death in a broken world. And yet the chance to hug on my wife this morning and to love my kids and to reflect on some important questions with my friend Peter. Those are pretty good ways to redeem the time.
Okay.
Yeah. What a great guy. Let me focus on this for just a moment. Because there's a story I want to talk about at the top of the next hour where a lot of parents are going into schools now that have laptops and screens and saying, hey, we want to go back to books and paper. We think that's better for our kids. People are starting to realize that technology is not everything it was cracked up to be. But politics is not cracked up, everything it's cracked up to be. Now, I feel a little funny being the one to say this because I'm a guy who is in politics. I talk about politics. I try to talk about other stuff as well, including stuff like this. But I can't tell you how often I encounter people who are in existential anxiety about things they can't control. I actually saw someone, I think last night on social media, was talking about the existential abstract terrors that particularly a lot of, we spend a lot of time here talking about how crazy and insane progressive white women have become in this country. And it's people who see things in their life they can't control, and they build anxiety about that lack of control over these things they don't like, and they are abstractions. And many of these people, a common trait these days is that they're childless. They have adopted causes in lieu of having kids. And they have terrors over the way the world works and their inability to control things in the world. And they're not actually committed to their community. So the President of the United States of America will be in Rome, Georgia this afternoon, and a bunch of people showed up today in Rome, Georgia, and put out protest signs about the president, many of them needling the president over supposed ties to Jeffrey Epstein that they have oftentimes heard about in the media that weren't actually true. What are those people going to do this afternoon? Are they going to go to the soup kitchen in Floyd County? Are they going to go to the food pantry? Are they going to help? Are they going to volunteer their time there? Or are they going to be invested in politics and think that they can save the world through politics? Someone commented on social media and said, driving through a small town, there was an old woman standing in the light rain holding a sign, "Feed people, not war." Just her. Not the war, just war as a concept, an abstract protest, an artistic performance dissenting against nothing and everything at the same time. And here's the reply that caught my eye. I've known people who year in and year out are in a constant state of stress and panic about the state of the world in a way that genuinely affects the quality of their lives. They're experiencing real distressing emotions about vague abstractions they have no control over and no plans to take control of them. They truly believe they are on the cusp of a disaster and never seem to become aware that the world is huge and complex, and at any point in time something bad is happening to someone just because it's life. Empathy doesn't seem to scale. At the point it becomes an abstraction. It turns into a kind of mental illness. We have a lot of people, left and right, suffering from this mental illness, that but for their work in politics, the world will go to hell in a handbasket. And meanwhile, there's someone whose world has gone to hell in a handbasket. What do? You redeem the time. 2 days ago, 3 miles from me, near my neighborhood, a 50-something-year-old man received an eviction notice from a sheriff's deputy. He went inside and locked the door and killed his wife and daughter and his pets, and then himself. The man needed help. And I think about all the people who could have offered help and didn't because they were absorbed in their own life, or they were absorbed in the political fights of the day, and they haven't redeemed any time. If you get hit by a bus tonight, will you in your final second be satisfied with what you did in life, that you redeemed the time God gave you and made the world a better place? If you're just focused on politics, you're not making the world a better place. There's nothing permanent in American politics, and that is why so many people are so anxious about politics right now, is they want something permanent. Both Democrats and Republicans, they're fighting for permanent power that will never come in the United States. But if you seek the welfare of the community in which you live and you pray for it, there you'll find your welfare, and there you will find some way to redeem your time in this world. Whether it's time spent with your family and ensuring that you have children of good character, whether you spend your time working at the local soup kitchen, whether you're involved in a church or a civic group that seeks to make the world a better place. Politics doesn't make the world a better place. You do. Politicians don't make the world a better place. You do. And you do not by getting involved in politics, although there's a role for getting involved in politics, and I don't want to talk you out of getting involved in politics, but if all you're doing is getting spun up by the politics of the day and you're not actually seeking the welfare of the community around you where you can have a real difference, you've wasted your time. You haven't redeemed your time. You haven't sought to make your world better. You've sought to worship your idols because you think that by changing politics, you change the world. You can't change the world through politics. Trust me, I've tried. But you can change your local community for the better. Whether you take the Bible literally or metaphorically or not at all, the first murder in the Bible was Cain killing Abel. And God confronts him and he says, am I my brother's keeper? And the answer is yes, you are. And who is your brother? It's not just your bloodline. It's the homeless man down the street that you see every day, and you turn and look a different way so you don't have to make contact with his problems. Have you redeemed the time with that person? Maybe not by directly encountering him, but by donating to the soup kitchen or the food pantry. What about the battered women's shelter? Are you going to redeem the time? I don't want you to not pay attention to the news. I'd be out of a job, frankly, if you did. But I think you do need to stay informed. But you need to also understand there are things beyond your control. And those things give you anxiety. And one of the best ways to deal with that anxiety is not to go march in the streets and not to go rally and not to go protest and not to hold up signs. Is to go get involved in your community, get your hands dirty in your community, because there you will see meaningful progress. You will redeem your time. You don't have to take my word for it. The words of Ben Sass, that is a man who is on his deathbed. There is no respite for him. He is going to die. And he knows he's going to die. And consider the words of a dying man who is telling you the things that he wishes he understood sooner as he now lays dying. Redeem your time. Stay informed. Stay plugged in. Stay engaged in politics, but understand that's not where you redeem your time. He did that for a while. He was in the United States Senate. And then he became a college president. And now he's a husband and a father on his deathbed. And we could all learn a little lesson from him. Redeem your time. My fellow Americans, I have a special alert. Are you a feminist in the United States of America? Are you a feminist? Do you wear comfortable shoes, have a deep voice, and find no humor in anything? Do you scowl at the thought of men making more money than you? Then I have something for you to consider. The Association for Cleaning and Facilities Solutions is announcing the Housekeeping Olympics. The viral housekeeping Olympics, it has returned to the ISSA show North America. The world's largest and most influential event for the cleaning and facility solutions industry, drawing professionals to Las Vegas. The event is your opportunity to witness and compete in a high-energy, internationally recognized competition that spotlights and celebrates the frontline heroes of hospitality, healthcare, and beyond. You ladies can sign up. They have competitive mopping. They have competitive bed making. They might have, they've got competitive vacuuming. And this year, what on earth is that? They have competitive jazz hands. What on earth? I'm hoping they have, just for the hardcore feminists, competitive sandwich making. You two ladies, you can get out there and say, "That's not funny. Give me the knife and bread." You ladies, you can get out there. You don't even have to smile. You just make us some beds, mop the floor, make me a tasty sandwich, and you could come out on top. The winner of the housekeeping Olympics, I don't know what you get out of it other than, put yourself to work instead of doing political scowling. You can go out there and learn to make sandwiches competitively. Feminists of America, unite. Now is your time. The rest of you should go to oldglorybank.com/Eric and get an account at Old Glory Bank. Why? Because oldglorybank.com/Eric, they're my bank and they can be your bank, and they are a great bank. They're not just any bank. They're a bank that was started by conservatives. They wanted to protect your rights in this country to bank without intimidation from the left. Now they're one of the fastest growing banks in the country, and they're about to be publicly traded on NASDAQ. They're growing, one of the fastest growing banks in the country. If you're a veteran, first responder, active duty military, they really take care of you. If you're active duty military, they'll even waive some fees for the premium accounts. I myself don't get my fees waived because it actually is my bank. They were my bank before I was on advertising for them on radio. So I got the no-fee checking and no-fee savings. They have premium accounts, interest-bearing checking accounts. They've got great business solutions. In fact, I've sent several businesses to them. They got their business accounts with them, and they've all been effusive with praise about how hands-on they are getting to know the businesses. So if lending is an option for you, they already understand your business. oldglorybank.com/Eric, oldglorybank.com/ERICK, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply.